Hello student, good morning. Today again we are studying ecology second. This is my lecture number 12. In this lecture we will study in details different type of ecosystems on this earth. Well, we start from aquatic ecosystems. An overview of aquatic ecosystem in the world on the earth. An aquatic ecosystem is an ecosystem in a body of water body ecosystem. You see, different communities of organisms live in different type of aquatic ecosystem. Two main type of aquatic ecosystems are marine and freshwater ecosystems. Freshwater ecosystem can be studied separately. So we see freshwater ecosystem or ecosystems are sub-ecosystem of Earth's aquatic ecosystem. For example, a pond ecosystem, a river ecosystem, a stream ecosystem, a spring ecosystem, or a bog ecosystem. Bog is a wet, spongy ground where mosses and ferns are luxuriantly grown, and wetland ecosystems are included in this fresh what you call ecosystem. Well, we see that water of these ecosystems have less amount of salt in them as compared to marine ecosystem with a larger salt content in their water. So there are four types of freshwater ecosystems. Wetland is not considered freshwater ecosystem, as there are some marshes that have high salt concentration in them. We'll consider it in a bit details later on. Okay. Yes, you see, students, that freshwater ecosystem offer an especially rich diversity of habitat conditions, plants and animal species, etc. Stunning freshwater ecosystems are ponds and lakes. In ponds, the sunlight reaches all the way to bottom, up to bottom, but in lakes some of the water is too deep for the sun for light penetrations. So the major biotic factors of freshwater ecosystems are producers, that is plant with roots and phytoplanktons, or floating just algae, etc. Consumers, zooplanktons, these are also floating animals on freshwater bodies. Fishes and different type of turtles and decomposers are the main what you call consumers. Let us look at a just pond ecosystem. Here we see a very clear diagram of a pond ecosystems. Along the body or submerged what you call bank of the pond, there are earthworms and other what you call decomposers, and inside the pond, tadpole larvae, bagswimmers, boatmen, or just water insects, newts and sticklebacks fish, three-spined stickleback fish or leeches, water scorpion, freshwater mussels, that is mollusk, and larger consumers are turtle here, and swimming ducks are seen here also. Pond snails and mussels, water shrew are at the bank to catch small fishes or insects from the just edges of the pond water, and mosquito and dragonflies are all just making a galaxy of what you call biotic factors in this ecosystems beautiful just gathering of these biotic factors in an ecosystem. The role of these ecosystem, freshwater ecosystem, is mitigations. Mitigation means making mild and moderate to renew or refresh something. So role or function of these freshwater, one of the roles of this freshwater ecosystem are mitigations against climate variability of the environment, attached environment, by their function of flood control. Another function is flood control, water purifications, shoreline stabilization, and sequestration, that is separation of carbon dioxide. Then physical characteristic of freshwater ecosystem include their temperature, relative density, turbidity of the water, and amount of suspended solid in the water, that it dissolve biochemicals, physico-chemical characteristic of water, and is particularly dissolved salts and minerals, and pH of the water is very much essential for aquatic inhabitants of the water, particularly just algae and small crustaceans and other insects, water insects, aquatic insects of the pond. So pond is very much, you see, study item of the freshwater ecosystem, which is very much, what you call of moderate size and limnological importance for study of aquatic factors, biogeochemical factors in this small freshwater ecosystem. Now we see that all these factors can affect the health of aquatic and riparian plants and animals. Riparian means the animals which are living on the bank or of rivers or lakes. So we see that aquatic and riparian animals and plants are affected by these factors, as well as those animals, including humans, that drink from freshwater sources. Unique contains of a range of animal and plant species, different climates, and various amount of water of every individual fresh ecosystems are typical. So we see that importance of freshwater ecosystem is very paramount. No two freshwater biomes are exactly same, as they have different conditions and constituents of biotic and abiotic factor along with their locality to the equator or continents of the world. For example, river Nile is the longest river in the world, is a freshwater ecosystem, gigantic freshwater ecosystem. So we see how very great lake look like. Here we see different what you call biotic and abiotic factors of the lake. The level of just what you call inhabitants and biotic characters and abiotic factors have just their own positions and locations. Here we are seeing the different birds and diverse number of fishes, different species of fishes, and osprey, a sort of eagles, bald eagle. Bald eagle means white-headed eagles, and terns and seagulls and red-tailed hawks, and all these animals are just primary and secondary consumers So this lake can be described uh, uh, with the help of food chain and food webs and cycling of the nutrients and other necessities of life in the lake or attached with lake. Lotic ecosystem. What is a lotic ecosystem? Lotic ecosystem is a moving water body, that is rivers, streams and brook, etc. Water in this type of ecosystem have atmospheric gases. Water is turbid with temperature gradations and dissolve minerals in them. The lotic ecosystems are moving bodies of water that flow to other bodies of water and eventually falling to the ocean. An ocean ecosystem is neither a lotic or lantic ecosystem, as biotic and non-biotic factors of the oceans are very different than freshwater ecosystem. Lantic ecosystem. Lantus. Lantic comes from lantus in Latin, and lantus means sluggish, slow and lethargic. So lantic means slow, that is have stationary or relatively still water. For example, ponds to lakes and wetlands all together are called as lantic or stationary water bodies ecosystem. Now another type of ecosystem is estuary. Estuary. What is an estuary? Estuary is a marine ecosystem. Estuary is partially a closed body of wetland. Its surrounding coastal water habitat is the spot where salt water from oceans typically mix with the fresh water of river or streams. Four kinds of estuaries are formed in different ways in nature. Number first is the tectonic estuary, second is the coastal plain estuary, and third bract built estuary, and fourth is forged estuary. I'm not sure what is the pronunciation of these words, and it is written in this strange way. F is capital and J is obviously small. F is not capital, F is small. So the pronunciation is what you call debatable. While study estuaries, we see Lawrence River connecting Great Lake to Atlantic Oceans is the largest estuary in the world. Where it is situated, in which country? Lawrence River must be in Canada or somewhere else in different country. I have to confirm it. You may confirm it on internet. Yes, as the sea rises, as we see the sea rises, it take under its coverage river valleys and field glacial troghs, a shallow depression of water, forming estuary which trap mud, sand gravels and runoff water from rivers and oceans by tidal forces. So we see how estuary is getting a lot of gravel, sand and runoff water from rivers and tidal forces, and a very much rich amount of nutrients flowing from waters and different sources at the mouth of this river. Well, now we see the most important variable characteristics of estuary water are the concentration of dissolved oxygen, salinity and sediments load. Unique plants and animals adopted at the margin of the saltiest marshes and related areas of estuaries. Water filtrations and protection of Habitats are the functions of different estuaries. Habitats link with estuaries such as salty marshes and mangroves forest are very rich in animal diversity. An estuary is a very productive ecosystem as it constantly receives nutrients from river. The most important variables of estuary water are the concentration, resolve, oxygen salinity, and sediment load. I have already described these slides, I think, so let it be just skipped for yes, I have yes, here I see that habitats links with estuaries such as salty marshes and mangroves forests are very rich in animal diversity. An estuary is a very productive ecosystem as it constantly receives nutrients from different river sources and water bodies. Mangroves are very much what you call rich forest ecosystem, as mangrove forest ecosystem along the banks of the submerged in the water are the habitats of so many animals, particularly prawn and shrimps. So mangroves, shrimp and prawn industry in Karachi mangrove forest is very much what you call a rich source of income of fisheries and giving us very much productive bioresources of Pakistan by earning foreign exchange, selling out these dry fishes and shrimps, prawns and crayfishes, delicacies of different hotels, 5-star hotels. Estuaries or transitional water represent a transition between freshwater and marine environment and are influenced by these both aquatic realms, that is freshwater and marine ecosystems. This is very much what you call amazing sort of spot for the limnologist. Freshwater biology is called limnology, and other fisheries and mangrove study scientist or ecologist. Now we look at the formation of freshwater ecosystems. For example, a river. I have just written keywords below this what you call diagrams. Now we see how a river is what you call formed and what is their course of path or course of journey towards the oceans. First we say river source. River sources are Himalayas, great Himalayas ranges on which there are big glaciers and other tributaries. Tributaries means contributors or renderer, that is they are giving just melted water for the formation of water. So the birth or genesis of the rivers are taken place at the lap or at the lap of the Himalayas. So Himalayas are the sources of water falling and making rivers. So main rivers are flood plains, making after formation of rivers they are just in the shape of flood plains. They are going and making just river courses and river water bodies. Minder means the coiling or twisting of rivers, just like a snake or twist of waters. Minder, yani winding like a labyrinth, just puzzle labyrinths. So twisting of rivers, different course taken on the way to the oceans for emergence. River mouth, this is estuaries. And delta, delta is a alluvial tract of land. Alluvial means sand, gravels and soil gather at the mouth of rivers. So delta is a piece of land, uh, uh, delta of Bay of Bengal and other deltas. They are piece of lands rich in sand, gravels and other nutrients just flowing from rivers from different sources and runoff water of floods and rains, that is then lake, the water and delta, and forming different branches and then falling into the into their mother ocean and making their just estuaries just at the junction of the what you call oceans. Now at last again a home take message for you. Before home take message, I make a short abstract summary of this lecture, that different aquatic systems are bioresources of the world on which all living organisms depend, including we human beings. For example, yes, dear students, listen and read this lecture time and again. Repeat them, write them, just memorize them, necessary ingredient to prepare for your exam. I tell you that attentive listening and writing and reading are the three collective ways of learning and memorization for the students. Nothing like good preparations for exam with much diligence or hard work. Thank you very much. Good luck.